Hi, in this video we will learn treatment of income in the final accounts of the not-for-profit organization. How income is treated in the receipts and payments account, income and expenditure account, the opening balance sheet and also the closing balance sheet. We will also learn a simple income account format which will help us find out missing information in certain questions. Before we begin, we should understand that this explanation is based on the assumption that the accounting year is from 1st April 2018 up till 31st March 2019. In the receipts and payments account, the income is shown on the debit side, receipts side. We must remember that the income which is shown in the receipts side includes all income which is actually received in the current year 2018-19. Remember, it can relate to the previous year, it could relate to the current year, or it could relate to the subsequent year. So all the income which is actually received in the current year, irrespective of whichever year it relates to, is shown on the debit side in the receipts side of the receipts and payments account. The same income will be shown on the credit side of the income and expenditure account under the head income. However, this income amount includes all income supposed to be received in the current year 2018-19. Whether you received it in the previous year or whether you received it in the current year itself, or whether you have not yet received it even at the end of the current year, it does not matter. As long as it is supposed to be received in the current year 2018-19, whether actually received or not, it will be shown in the credit side or income side of the income and expenditure account. Let's see how they figure in the opening balance sheet. In the opening balance sheet, income received in advance is a liability, whereas outstanding income or accrued income is an asset. We'll go into detail on the liability side. We are going to write the amounts of income which relates to the current year, but you received it in the previous year itself. In other words, it relates to the current year 2018-19, but you already received it prior to 1st April 2018. On the asset side, we will be writing income which relates to the previous year but which is not yet received until the beginning of the current year. So which means it relates to the period 2017-18 and it is not yet received until 1st April 2018. Now I'll add a small point here. In the absence of other information to the contrary, we have to assume that the income which was supposed to be received in the previous year and has not yet been received until the beginning of the current year has been received in the current year. But this assumption is made only in the absence of information to the contrary. If they tell you specifically how much of the previous year's outstanding you've received this year, then please do not make this assumption. Closing balance sheet Again, the income received in advance will come on the liability side. Accrued income or outstanding income will come on the asset side. But in terms of dates, on the liability side, we will write income which relates to the subsequent year. It is supposed to be received only in the subsequent year, but it has already been received in the current year. So which means it relates to the period after 1st April 2019, but it is already received during the current year 2018-19. For the accrued income or outstanding income on the asset side, it relates either to the previous year or to the current year, but it is not yet received until the end of the current year, which means it relates to the period prior to 31st March 2019 and has not yet been received until the current year end, which is 31st March 2019. We can find out certain missing information in problems by making or preparing the income account. The format of the income account is like this. On the debit side, you will write opening outstanding income as balance brought down. Opposite side, last entry by balance carried down, closing outstanding income. On the credit side, starts with by balance brought down, opening advance income, and the debit side last entry to balance carried down, closing advance income. The amount which comes in the receipts and payments account showing the amount of income received will be written as by bank. Any irrecoverable income has to be debited to the income and expenditure account, in other words shown on the expenditure side, and the balancing figure in most cases would be to INE account, the amount of income which has to be shown in the income side of the income and expenditure account. In the following videos, we will learn how to treat the income with examples with respect to subscription.